Thank you, Chairman. I'm very happy to be here this evening to introduce this bill with my colleague Deputy Fiona O'Loughlin, and to thank also our researcher Anya Doyle for her help in putting this bill together. I think it's been quite an extraordinary year for women's rights, and we've had many debates in this House, certainly in my short time here, about very pertinent female issues. And this is certainly an issue, I think, that affects many women across the country and also their partners as well. We live, and I'm very proud of this, in a very modern, progressive society, one that has changed rapidly, certainly over the last 10, 15 years. And because of that, our work life has changed, society has changed, women's place in the workforce has changed, and for the better in my view. But as it stands, our maternity laws in this country are outdated, they are old-fashioned, and they restrict women in their ability to enter the workforce, to stay in the workforce, and to make the correct choices for them and their families. Currently, as it stands, a woman, a new mother, can take up to 6 months paid maternity leave, that's 26 weeks, but the father or the other parent can only take 2 weeks. There's clearly an imbalance there that needs to be addressed. And I want to preface that by saying, ultimately, we need to increase those entitlements. We want to see more maternity leave. We want to see greater flexibility for families and parents with the ability to stay at home for longer with their children in that first year after birth. If that's something that they want to do, they should absolutely be facilitated to do that by our laws and by the state. But right now, parental choice is lacking. Women don't have that choice. And I think we have to have a reality check as to what it's actually like to work as a woman in this country. If you've just become a new mother, the options open to you are to take the 6 months maternity leave. And if you don't take the 6 months maternity leave, the other parent cannot take that leave to help you out. So the options then are that you rely on family members, or you go down the road of paying for extremely costly childcare earlier than you may have to. It can also be very, very difficult to get a childcare facility to take a child that's younger than 6 months. These are just the facts and the realities of day-to-day living in this country. So why not give that choice back to parents? If a woman decides she doesn't want to take the full 6 months off, maybe she earns more than her partner, and financially it's better for the family that she goes back to work sooner, and that's what they as a couple decide to do. What about the situations where the mother doesn't get maternity leave because she's self-employed and she runs her own business? That means the maternity leave is completely lost to the family. Why would we facilitate that? Why would we force that? Would it not be far better for the family that maybe dad or the other partner can stay at home, take some time out of work and take that maternity leave, that paid maternity leave, rather than having to pay for expensive childcare early and have the child without any parent at home against the wishes of those parents, but because they have no other option? It's important to note that the bill does not seek to take away any rights from new mothers. The status quo is maintained. Maternity rights automatically go to mum unless she chooses to give some of that leave to the other parent and they make that choice together, because it is in the interest of their family to do so and the choice that they want to make. But right now that choice is taken from them, and many fathers, because we live in this modern society, many fathers would like the opportunity to actually take some time out to stay at home with their new children. But currently all they have is 2 weeks. And yes, we want to get to a stage where we ultimately extend all of that leave, but we're all very well aware that that costs money. And that's going to be a longer-term objective of this country. But in the short term, why not make existing entitlements flexible? Give parents the choice. They decide. They make the right call for their family and for their situation. Can you imagine the transformative impact it would have for women who are working or who are self-employed if there was this flexibility and the pressure was off? Because the choice often faced by women now is, OK, I'd like to go back to work a bit sooner, but that means I have to pay for childcare because my partner cannot take that time off instead. I think that puts women in a very difficult position and often forces them to stay out of the workforce longer than they may like to. Can you imagine as well the transformative impact it would have in terms of levelling the playing field? Right now, if you're a woman of childbearing age, and whether we like it or not, these are the realities, and this is what women face heading into the workforce. You engage and you enter into an interview for a new job, and you're interviewing for a job alongside a potential male colleague. And you're a woman of childbearing age, and the assumption is that you are more likely to take time off with children than the male applicant. And that is often, that often goes against female candidates for positions. I know directly from friends of my own, one friend that went for a particular job who took her engagement ring off when she went into the interview. Why did she feel the need to do that? She did that because she knew engagement indicates marriage, indicates potentially having a baby and taking time out of work. Can you imagine heading into an interview process where the employer is thinking, OK, well, maybe the male candidate is as likely as the female candidate to take time out of work to mind their children, and that isn't even an issue anymore? That's the kind of equal society we need to get to. These are the kind of issues that will practically help women in modern Ireland, modern working women that want that flexibility and want that choice. Again, I really want to emphasise the point. It's about choice. If a new mother chooses and wants to stay at home with her baby, she should absolutely be supported in every aspect to do that. But equally, if a woman doesn't want to take the full 6 months or isn't entitled to any maternity leave, surely the state should give every support to that woman too. All we're asking for is equal opportunity and equal treatment, and again putting choice back in the hands of parents and not in the hands of government. And as I said, many fathers want that opportunity and feel under extreme pressure to go back to work. 2 weeks is a very short space of time, and any new father will tell you that that first 2 weeks absolutely flies and they're back at work before they know it. I think the opportunity there to try and split that maternity leave, if it's in the interest of the family and something that they want to do, will be a really positive option to give to families. I know there are some concerns around the potential impact in terms of mum not having enough time at home, but again, the emphasis here is on choice. Nobody's forcing anybody to do anything, but currently there is no choice there. There are issues, I think, around European Union law and the necessity to ring-fence some of that leave, specifically for new mothers. We are absolutely happy to accept any amendments in that regard, to debate those amendments and seek, with the support of other members in this House, to make the legislation more robust and actually make it better and more workable. So we're certainly open to amendments that make the legislation workable and make it better. The intention behind all of this, at the end of the day, is choice and flexibility. We have an existing entitlement that is inflexible, does not represent modern Ireland, and does nothing to help women who want to stay in the workforce and maybe get back to work sooner, or who don't get maternity leave. And I think our laws should reflect the fact that the workplace has changed rapidly and women's needs are different. And why not give that flexibility and give that choice? Rather than government making the choice, let the woman make the choice for herself.
Thank you, Deputy.